Welcome to That Transit Show. I'm Monica Spain. This summer, the world's biggest soccer tournament is coming to the Pacific Northwest. And while Seattle may be hosting the matches, Snohomish County is getting in on the action with a fan zone, putting Everett on the world stage this summer. Today on That Transit Show, we're talking with Tyler Chism, Economic Development Manager for the City of Everett, to talk about what visitors and locals can expect, how to get there, and why you'll want to join in on the fun. Welcome aboard. Tyler Chism, welcome to That Transit Show.
Hi, Monica. Glad to be here. So excited.
I know there's a lot of excitement. And, you know, in Seattle, there are banners and the waterfront has been beautified. There's all this stuff going on. But I want to hear about what's going on here in Snohomish County, specifically in Everett. We have a fan zone. Tell me for the uninitiated, what is the Everett Fan Zone?
Everett's one of 9 official fan zones across the state. So excited about it. So excited that Everett got chosen to be an official fan zone. And basically what that means is it allows us to participate and activate during this World Cup season in really fun ways in partnership with the Seattle local organizing committee that's hosting the World Cup in Seattle. So I think of us as the fans' living room, or one of the fans' living rooms. Everett is, smack dab between Vancouver and Seattle, Vancouver, BC, of course, which is also a host city. And so we're getting all decked out for it. Everett's going all in. We're not just kind of showing up passively to this. There's probably 750,000 people in the region. They're going to spend $1 billion while they're here, and we're going to show them a great time.
So tell me about that great time. What do you have in store?
Yeah, so our big fan zone activation is our Waterfront Watch Party series, which is 4 dates in partnership with the Port of Everett and the Sports Commission, June 11th, 12th, 18th, and 19th. And so Boxcar Park, going to be all decked out, 40-foot screen, a dozen food trucks, giant beer garden, so many fun things for kids and families, local MCs, pre-show entertainment, post-show entertainment. And so that's the big thing that we're working on. The other thing that we're working on is a series of local watch parties really activating the business community.
Okay.
That we're calling Game On Everett. And that's in partnership with the Everett Chamber. And so when we found out that we were going to be a fan zone, we put our heads together and thought, how do we do this in a way that's a great experience? And we go all out in this sort of festival style, but then make sure that the businesses and folks who maybe don't want to go to an event with thousands of people can celebrate World Cup during this 5-week season.
So it's really kind of inclusive. It sounds like you've got a little bit of something for everyone.
Totally. That was the design. Really spread the love, the economic love, the sort of entertainment and celebration, activate in different ways for different people who kind of want different experiences. Everett's really diverse. And so, when we chose our fan zone dates and the teams that are playing, we chose the teams kind of based on folks who lived here around the region, Mexico, South Korea, USA, things like that. So we know it's going to be fun for locals, and that locals will feel like it's their celebration. Our original concept was we were going to activate on all 6 of the Seattle home games.
Okay.
When we first learned about being a fan zone, that was kind of how it was talked about in the expectation. The local organizing committee sort of changed that requirement. And so it allowed us an opportunity to go back to the drawing board and say, how do we do this in a way that, so we're not overlapping the Seattle dates. We know people will be here for a 5-week period. And how do we get the tourists who are looking for things to do while they're here in between the Seattle and Vancouver matches, but then also activate on dates that are really relevant for locals. We know the tourists are going to be here, but let's make it a very memorable and awesome experience for the locals too.
Yeah, it sounds really fun. So, because we're a transit show, we got to talk a little bit about how you access some of this stuff. And so I wanted to ask you, do you anticipate people will be taking transit? Do you
Yeah, there better be.
It better be.
We need them to.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of people here. And, in Everett, one of the things we're trying to do in the economic development department, and one of our ways that we're really trying to compete with other cities compete with people, cities compete with other cities for people, right? And for businesses and things like that. And so we're really trying to compete on experience. And part of that is to make sure experiences are not only like fun and vibrant, but also really easy, so people feel like, oh, I not only had a fun time, I had an easy time.
Yeah.
So for our waterfront watch parties, we've got an amazing shuttle in partnership with Everett Transit. So folks, get to Everett Station via whatever your preferred kind of method is. Take a bus, take the Sounder, light rail to Linwood, and then bus to Everett Station or to downtown Everett. You'll see signs everywhere for the free shuttle that we're running. The shuttle runs every 15 minutes for 2 hours before kickoff for each of our watch party dates. And then after the matches, it runs every 5 minutes to get people back to their car.
Okay, and that's courtesy of
Or back to
Everett Transit.
Totally, yeah. Everett Transit are like the real heroes for this. They put so much thoughtful work, and our Everett Police Department too, obviously with all the safety stuff. But yeah, I love Everett Transit, and they do this for a lot of our city events, Sorticulture, 4th of July, and so we're all about making things easy. And what I'm telling people is if you want a pre-funk or post-funk in downtown Everett, totally do it, because every stop on Hewitt will be assigned a watch party shuttle.
And there's a lot of options too. There's people may be taking the Sounder, people may be taking light rail and then connecting to community transit to get to Everett Station. We have quite a few routes that run there. So I think if people go to, if they want shuttle information, they can go to everetttransit.org. It's right there on the homepage. You can go to Community Transit's trip planner on our website.
Yeah.
And you can figure out how to get there, because, there are things going on in other cities. There's something going on in Mill Creek. They have their festival. We have at the Linwood Library, I know they're going to be having an event. And there are things going on in other parts of Snohomish County. But it sounds like really, if you want to be in the thick of it, Everett is a really great opportunity.
Yep. Everett is a great opportunity. Everett's where it's at. But we're super collaborative with everything else that's going around the county. One thing that's interesting about World Cup visitors, people who visit from kind of outside of the country, so international visitors, is they book their trips like within 2 weeks of the match dates.
Great. Why? I know. Who does that?
Totally.
Especially with airfares the way they are right now.
Totally. And so we did a learning exchange with, I think, Qatar and the Seattle Sports Commission maybe about a year ago, and they told us about this, that the visitors book really last minute, the international visitors, because they're kind of seeing, okay, the draw happens, then weird geopolitical things happen and things change, and then lotteries for tickets open up. And so anyway, we know that there'll be people that'll be here that like don't have tickets yet to either a Seattle or a Vancouver game. But we want to show that we want them to have like the quintessential PNW experience. And so part of that is part of that is going to be in like the river valleys around Snohomish County too, up in or near Sultan and up in Arlington, and get out and hike, get out on the water, and then come to our fan zones, watch a game at a local bar. It's a whole season of PNW soccer.
Yeah, and for people who don't have a ticket to go to one of the Seattle matches, like don't despair, right? Like there's stuff to do here, but that's another thing I wanted to bring up. I've heard that they're really discouraging people from going down to what used to be Lumen Field, what they're calling Seattle Stadium for the soccer tournament, because there are going to be layers and layers of security, and I think you can't buy a ticket down there. Isn't that right?
That's how I understand it. Yeah, don't show up thinking that you're going to get a ticket. You can, if you don't have a ticket, you can likely get a ticket on some sort of third-party ticket reseller thing like that. But yeah, definitely don't go to Seattle and think you're going to get into a game, because that's not going to happen. But if you show up to Everett on June 11th, 12th, 18th, or 19th, and you want to get into our fan zone, easy peasy.
Excellent. So the PNW is a big soccer thing, especially for kids. I've got my soccer bag.
Is that you?
That's me.
Nice.
I once scored a goal with my left foot, but that's
awesome.
That's a whole other story.
Yeah.
Anyway, but kids, I mean, this must be really exciting for kids who grow up here playing soccer, maybe watching it on TV. How are kids being brought into this experience?
It's going to be awesome for kids. We have been so intentional with our watch parties to have other activations besides just the soccer matches. So we have a partnership with Imagine Children's Museum, the Sports Commission, and 3 local soccer like clubs and retailers. We'll have an awesome kid zone at our watch parties. The kids will be able to play, kick the ball, have some fun, meet Sounders players and things like that. Then they go to the Children's Museum and they go through a little bit of a learning experience where they learn about sort of physics, physiology with sports, some international culture and stuff like that. And then we also have like a gaming trailer for kids who want to like get in and get a little screen time in, you know. We'll also have face painters and
You can have like a photo booth of
all that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
you know. But yeah, so families, we really want families to show up and kids like to remember this the way that I remember stuff
Yeah.
like this when I was a kid.
Yeah.
We've been really intentional about that.
Yeah. So, I mean, being a family-friendly event, but there is going to be like alcohol and other things.
For sure.
There's something
Yep.
for everybody, like you said.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about security and what people should expect, because we want people to feel like, yeah, this is for me. This is going to feel good and safe
Yep.
and that kind of thing.
Yeah, we looked at a few different sites.
Mhm.
Originally, we were going to have, we were going to try to move the fan zone across the city. Police quickly were like, please don't do that. That's going to be a security nightmare for us. I'll be honest, I did not understand the complexity of the security for an international event at this scale, like when we first started dreaming up the fan zone concept. But Boxcar Park is perfect for it because it's pretty easy to harden and secure with fencing, kind of one way in, one way out. You've got water on the other side. You got a Navy base right next to it. It's also really beautiful.
It is gorgeous.
So it's like the best,
Yeah.
you know, it's not only safe, but it's also just really, really beautiful. Would have loved to have the fan zone in downtown, but downtown presents a lot of security, like complexities.
And just I would think logistical
Totally.
things too.
But this will be like a similar experience to entering a stadium event. You know, we're going to have 2 different lines. One line for, hey, you didn't bring anything or you brought a small clear bag. Quick little bag check, go through a metal detector, bada bing, bada boom, you're in. You showed up with your family's lunch and a diaper bag and a stroller. This could be a more enhanced security screening. Just, you know,
Got to check those diapers.
gotta check the bags, make sure that nothing is coming in that could potentially hurt somebody. But Everett Police, the Navy, the local sheriff's office, port security, they've been amazing. They have such a great kind of safety operational plan. And really what we're trying to balance is like we want it to feel safe, welcoming. We don't want it to feel like you're walking into like an outdoor prison, you know? So we've been really intentional about making sure that first and foremost, it's a safe family event, that people feel safe, but they don't feel like, okay, this feels like there's a lot of cops around and it makes me feel uncomfortable. And so we'll have private security doing the bag checks, private security in the beer garden and things like that. And then the local PD kind of around the perimeter and roving and out in the water and flying drones overhead,
Sure.
you know, to watch for stuff. But yeah.
Well, you talked about this being, you know, having international people maybe coming. There's a lot of culture in Everett, being a diverse city. How do you plan for kind of a multicultural experience or to be welcoming to different cultures?
Yep. Lots of community outreach, you know, connecting with the local Hispanic community through lots of different, I mean, obviously the local Hispanic community is not a monolith, so we don't go just talk to one group. There's lots of groups. Same with the local Korean Business Association, through the Korean faith community, things like that, to try to just, hey, what is fun? What feels approachable? What feels intrusive? What do you want to see? Hey, do you guys know about this? Are we getting the word out to you? How do we get the word out to your communities better? So a lot of just a year's worth of conversations with the community through different avenues. And then our programming too, you know, like you said earlier, that it really is for everything. And sometimes if you design things for everybody, it's kind of nothing.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
This is not going to be like that. You know, we were really intentional. We've got, okay, the family stuff set up, and we've got our cultural programming. We'll have local heritage arts groups during halftime, for example, things like that. We have a Spanish-speaking MC on all 4 days, actually, but particularly relevant on the 3 dates where there's, you know, Mexico, Paraguay, and another Mexico game. And then, so yeah, things like that. On our 6 p.m. kickoff games, we'll have post-show entertainment, headlining bands, really. And so on one of the dates, we have Grizzled Mighty, which is like a local rock and roll band for like people who want to drink beer and rock and roll.
Yeah.
And then we have this amazing band from California called Tropica Magica. They're like this psychedelic, rock and roll band, but they're Mexican. And so everything's in Spanish. And so really try and...
Well, there's dancing.
Yeah, diffuse cultures,
Yeah.
like really try and diffuse cultures.
Yeah.
Soccer is the most played sport in the world. It's the most adapted sport in the world. We're becoming a soccer city, and I'm here for it.
Yeah.
Also, Everett rules. Like, why wouldn't we be a fan zone? Everett is just getting noticed in a way that I feel like hasn't been the case since I've lived in Everett, which has been about 20 years.
Tyler, if people want more information, where do you recommend they look? Do you have a website, or what's your...
Oh yeah, visit everett.com/World Cup. Super easy. You'll find everything there with waterfront watch parties. You'll find everything there for our shuttles. You'll find the whole list of all the other events and activities that are happening around Everett. Snohomish County Tourism has an amazing list of awesome things happening all across the county during the World Cup season. So go to discoversnohomishcounty.com, and there's like an endless list of World Cup fun there too. And great hikes and places to eat in the county, and fun little rural communities to visit. It's a great little website.
Well, Tyler, I can't wait to come out and hopefully see you there.
Yeah.
And
I'll be there.
We'll be taking transit. Thanks so much for being on that transit show.
Yeah, really appreciate being here.